I was just sitting up in my tree, in my tree, in my tree. I saw a beautiful face was looking up at me, up at me, up at me. Oh, she had a cute smile, so I asked her name, asked her name, asked her name. Oh, we got to talking till she felt the same, and she felt the same, felt the same. Well, every time I see her, I do my thing. Well, now she's by my side, it's where she wants to be, what she wants to be, it's where she wants to be. She's cooking us a chicken with a jug of tea.
A jug of tea.
Oh,
A
yeah.
jug of tea.
I'm thankful for the day she knocked out to my door. I'm thankful for the day she knocked out to my door. And I never thought I'd fall for the girl next door. And I never thought I'd fall for the girl next door. And every time I see her, I do my thing. Every time I see her, I do my thing. And every time I see her, I do my thing.
Armadillo, ring-a-ting-tang. Armadillo, ring-a-ting-tang.
Woohoo!
Vroom, vroom.
Greeting, winged scouts!
Hey, it's Commander Airhead.
Hi, Commander Airhead.
Gumdrop, Vroomer, it's time for our annual time-honored Planes with Brains contest, where young plane teams compete for the chance to win the prestigious Planes with Brains Award. Your mission, Gumdrop and Vroomer, is to discover all about the most fascinating machine of all.
Planes!
Planes.
Exactly! You will travel all over the world, across time, space, and beyond. You must keep your little metal noses pointed ahead, your motors humming, and your wings perked at all times. We depend on you to do the best job possible. Are you ready for your assignment?
Wow, my little wings are fluttering with thrills.
My little motor is vroom, vroom, vrooming with excitement.
Plane Scouts ready for our mission, Commander Airhead.
This is sure to be a challenging mission, little ones.
Fluffy white clouds? I love challenging missions.
Brilliant blue skies. Me too.
I'm sending you two on a mission to learn about the history of planes.
The history of planes? How cool!
Can't wait.
It's up to you to learn all about it and report back to me with what you've discovered.
Flapping fun wings!
This is going to be an incredible adventure.
What can you tell us about the history of planes, Commander Airhead?
Well, the desire to create a flying machine is as old as humankind. But it wasn't until 200 years ago that the true concept of an airplane came to be.
Wow, I can't wait to find out more.
The history of airplanes sounds absolutely amazing.
As you know, Vroomer and Gumdrop, to win the annual Planes with Brains contest, you must find out and learn tons of amazing facts about airplanes.
Yes, Commander Airhead.
Vroom, vroom. We will.
Excellent! You must also know that there is a question that all the brightest flying minds all over the world's skies have not been able to answer about the history of airplanes. We need you two winged scouts to help us answer the who flew question about the history of airplanes.
Who flew question? Love it! What is the question, Commander Airhead?
When did the first and longest unmanned aircraft flight take place?
That's a great question, Commander Airhead.
We'll land the answer in a spin of a propeller. I'm sure.
I will assign you the best winged scout helper in the world. His name is Willie Widget. He's a robotic encyclopedia of aircraft knowledge. He will assist you on your mission.
Willie Widget?
We love Willie Widget.
Be sure to ask a lot of questions, Winged Scouts. The prestigious Planes with Brains Award is up for grabs.
Yay! Winged Scouts ready to fly, Commander Airhead.
Winged Scouts!
Vroom, vroom.
Hooray!
Winged Scouts! Ready to get started on your next adventure?
Yes, super ready!
Totally ready.
Remember, Winged Scouts, any and all questions you have, I'm here to answer them.
Where do we begin?
Back in time, more than 2,000 years ago in Greece. You see, ancient people were inspired by the observation of birds soaring through the sky and designed aircrafts that copied the beating of a bird's wings. These machines are known as ornithopters. With ornithopters, the flapping wings generated both lift and propulsion. One of the earliest known examples of this type of machine is the wooden bird, designed by Greek scientist, philosopher, and mathematician Archytas of Tarentum in 400 BC. Even though some of these ancient machines took off for a few short flights, they remain impractical.
Whoa!
To trace the beginning of the history of flight, we have to travel in time all the way to the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries. Let's take a tour around Europe and meet some of the great thinkers who paved the way for the evolution of airplanes.
Yeah!
In Italy, the Netherlands, and England, mathematicians, scientists, and inventors like Leonardo da Vinci, Galileo Galilei, Christian Huygens, and Isaac Newton all contributed the first research into aerodynamics.
What's aerodynamics, Willy Widget?
Aero means air, and dynamics means motion. So, aerodynamics deals with the dynamics of air as it interacts with solid objects, like an airplane. Did you know you two guys experience aerodynamics every time you fly?
Incredible! Hit my plane brain with more cool factoids, Willy Widget.
It wasn't until the turn of the 18th century when an English baronet named George Cayley turned flying theory into reality by being the first to focus his attention on fixed-wing aircrafts, like modern airplanes, as opposed to the earlier aircrafts with beating wings like birds. He was a pioneer of aeronautical engineering who in 1804 flew the first successful flying glider, or a non-motor-powered flying machine, on record.
Blasting engines. That's amazing.
In 1853, George Cayley launched and flew the first glider ever recorded to carry a person on board.
Very interesting.
What happened next, Willy Widget?
Excellent question, Gumdrop. In the 1870s, Otto Lilienthal, a German mechanical engineer, followed in Cayley's footsteps and launched a series of very important studies on wing design. Lilienthal designed, built, and flew a number of monoplane and biplane gliders, accomplishing as many as 2,000 flights between 1890 and 1896.
Whoa! Fun factoid. But how did we get from those really cool gliders to winged airplanes with engines like us, Willy Widget?
That's a very good question, Vroomer. Let's take a trip to the United States and meet the Wright brothers.
Woohoo!
The Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur, were two American inventors and aviation pioneers who built and flew the world's first successful airplane. Their lifelong dream came true when Orville took to the sky in the first ever motor-powered, heavier-than-air aircraft called the Flyer on December 17, 1903, 4 miles south of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina.
What was the Flyer made of, Willy Widget?
The flyer was made using a strong and lightweight wood from the giant spruce tree as the main construction material, and muslin, a lightweight cotton cloth, was used for surface coverings. Even the flyer's propellers were made of wood.
Whoa, Willy Widget. Factoid cooler than rain clouds after a spring shower.
How was the flyer powered, Willy Widget?
Excellent question, Vroomer. Orville and Wilbur had a gasoline engine fabricated in their bicycle shop just for the flyer. The engine was fairly simple in construction, but it provided exactly the power required to propel their aircraft.
What about steering and piloting these early planes, Willy Widget?
Very good question, Vroomer. I see you are paying attention. During the second half of the 19th century, aircrafts had used a steering gear for yaw control, which is directing the plane's nose to the left and right. Cayley was the first to create an elevator for control in pitch, which is the directing of a plane's nose up or down. It was finally the Wright brothers who devised a system they called wing warping, which allowed the pilot control over the movement of the wings.
Were the Wright brothers the only ones who created aircrafts around this time?
They were the first to successfully fly one, but definitely not the only ones to do so. Let's take a tour of Europe at the beginning of the 20th century, and we'll find aviators like Brazilian-born Alberto Santos Dumont, who made the first public flight in Europe in 1906, and the Frenchman Henri Farman, who made his first successful attempt at flight the following year in 1907.
Whoa, what happened after that, Willy Widget?
As World War I approached, the governments of various countries foresaw the potential of warplanes during wartime. Airplane production and improvements in aerodynamics surged. Construction of aircrafts increased along with the power of the aircraft's motor. Planes also became faster and capable of flying higher. During the First World War, airplane speeds increased to 130 miles per hour, and aerial battles were taking place at the incredible altitude of 20,000 feet.
Wow! Tooting turbines! That's incredible!
After the war, there were a lot of airplanes waiting for their next assignment. Many of them were converted for commercial use. Even the U.S. Post Office jumped on board and launched its first airmail in 1918. Imagine how fast mail got delivered now, with the help of commercial planes. Sending mail by plane allowed parcels to get from coast to coast 22 hours sooner.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Aviation's improvements continued in earnest, and in 1927, inventor, writer, and aviator Charles Lindbergh completed the first non-stop continent-to-continent flight ever. He flew from New Jersey to Paris in 33 hours all by himself. Suddenly, Americans took an interest in aviation like never before. Passenger flight became all the rage, and a lot of companies invested into the aviation industry. The world just became smaller and smaller as people could travel from continent to continent in just a few hours as opposed to months.
Cool skies.
Nowadays, aviation has created